The neon lights of the nebula's edge cantina cast purple and blue shadows across Ryan's weathered hands as he nursed his synth whiskey. The human mechanic had seen better days. Grease stains decorated his jumpsuit like badges of honor, and his dark hair showed premature streaks of silver from too many late nights fixing starships. At 35, he looked older, but his eyes still held the sharp intelligence that made him the best engine whisperer in 3 sectors. Emma sat beside him at the bar, her small frame perched on the tall stool with practiced ease. To most patrons, she appeared to be a young girl of perhaps 12, with bright auburn hair and curious green eyes. But Ryan knew better. The neural interface ports hidden beneath her hairline and the subtle blue glow that sometimes flickered in her irises marked her as something more, a cyborg consciousness, housed in an artificial body designed to look human. "Daddy," Emma said, her voice carrying that peculiar mix of childlike wonder and ancient wisdom that never failed to unsettle strangers. "Why do the Vorthak keep staring at us?" Ryan followed her gaze to a corner booth where 2 hulking aliens sat hunched over glowing drinks. The Vorthak were insectoid creatures, standing nearly 8 feet tall with chitinous exoskeletons that gleamed like polished obsidian. Their compound eyes reflected the cantina's lights in 1,000 fractals, and their mandibles clicked rhythmically. A sign Ryan had learned meant either hunger or aggression. "Probably nothing, sweetheart," Ryan murmured, but his hand instinctively moved to the plasma wrench clipped to his belt. "Just curious about humans, maybe." Emma tilted her head, processing data streams invisible to organic eyes. Their biometric readings suggest hostile intent. Heart rate elevated, stress hormones increased, muscle tension consistent with pre-attack posture. "Emma," Ryan warned gently, "remember what we talked about? Try to act more like a regular kid." She nodded seriously. "Sorry, Daddy, I meant they look really, really mean." The larger of the 2 Vorthak rose from the booth, its movements fluid despite its size. The cantina's other patrons, a mix of humans, Zalari traders, and silicon-based Kristecs, seemed to sense trouble brewing and began quietly shifting toward the exits. "Human," the Vorthak's translator crackled as it approached. "Your construct is an abomination. Artificial consciousness violates the Galactic Accords." Ryan stood slowly, placing himself between Emma and the alien. "She's not a construct. She's my daughter." The second Vorthak joined its companion, mandibles clicking faster now. "We know what it is. The forbidden technology that ended the AI wars. Your species was banned from creating such things." "I didn't create her," Ryan said, his voice steady despite the tension coiling in his muscles. "I found her, abandoned, alone, and I gave her a home." "Irrelevant," the first alien hissed. "The penalty for harboring such technology is death. For both of you." Emma's hand slipped into Ryan's and he felt the subtle vibration of her internal systems ramping up to combat readiness. Despite her childlike appearance, she was capable of incredible things. Her reflexes were faster than any organic being, her strength sufficient to crush steel, and her processing power could coordinate a dozen different attack vectors simultaneously. But Ryan squeezed her hand gently, a signal they'd practiced. "Not yet." "Listen," Ryan said, raising his free hand in a peaceful gesture. "She's just a kid. She's never hurt anyone. Hell, she spends her days helping me repair ships and reading children's stories. Where's the threat in that?" "The threat," the second Vorthak said, raising a weapon that hummed with deadly energy, "is in what she could become. What your kind always becomes when given too much power." The cantina fell silent except for the low thrum of the station's life support systems. Ryan could feel Emma's small body tensing beside him, her systems analyzing threat patterns and calculating optimal response strategies. He knew she could disable both Vorthak in seconds, but he also knew what that would cost her. Each act of violence carved away another piece of the innocent child she was trying to be. "You want to know what she could become?" Ryan asked, his voice carrying the quiet authority of a man who'd survived the Outer Rim's worst dangers. "She could become someone who shows mercy to bullies who threaten children. She could become someone who fixes things instead of breaking them. She could become better than any of us." The first Vorthak's weapon began to glow brighter. "Enough philosophy. Step aside, human, and we will make her deactivation quick." Ryan smiled, the cold, dangerous smile that had preceded his legendary bar fights on a dozen different worlds. "You know what the funny thing is? You're right about one thing. She is incredibly dangerous. Emma looked up at him, confusion flickering in her green eyes. Daddy? But not in the way you think, Ryan continued, never taking his eyes off the aliens. See, Emma here has something most AI don't, something that makes her more dangerous than any weapon. And what is that? The Vorthak demanded. Ryan's smile widened. She has family. The mechanic moved with surprising speed for a human, his plasma wrench igniting as he dove toward the first alien. But Emma was faster. Her small form blurred as she launched herself at the second Vorthak, her artificial strength driving her fist through its weapon before it could fire. The fight was over in seconds. Both aliens lay unconscious on the cantina floor, their weapons destroyed, their pride thoroughly punctured. Ryan stood over them, breathing hard, while Emma dusted off her small hands with the casual air of someone who'd just finished a routine task. Daddy, she said, looking up at him with those impossibly innocent eyes, can we help them to a medical station? They're hurt. Ryan stared at her for a moment, then threw back his head and laughed. You know what, sweetheart? That's exactly why you're the best daughter in the galaxy. As they helped the groaning Vorthak to their feet, Ryan caught the bartender's eye and nodded toward their tab. The grizzled Christek simply waved him off. Apparently, defending a child earned you free drinks regardless of what species you were. Walking toward the medical bay with Emma skipping beside him, Ryan reflected on the strange turns his life had taken. He'd found a scared, confused artificial consciousness in a crashed ship 3 years ago. Today, she'd asked if they could help the beings who'd tried to kill them. Yeah, the galaxy definitely wasn't ready for what Emma might become, and Ryan couldn't wait to see it happen. Daddy? Emma asked as they reached the medical bay. Yeah, sweetheart. Next time, can we try talking to them first? Before the fighting part? Ryan grinned and ruffled her auburn hair, carefully avoiding the hidden interface ports. Absolutely, Em, but remember. I know, she said with a giggle that sounded perfectly, wonderfully human. Family protects family. That's my girl.